Hello, planet Earth. We've been getting a little weird up in here today. At least we, as in me. My patient sister here, Amber, is here to talk about pathways of awakening, along with me, Brooke Nicole, and I'd like to talk to you about some of the ways that you can turn yourself on, your galactic genetic blueprint, your energy body, your chakra system, just different pathways, different mind foods that we can talk about, consider, and bring in along our pathway. As always, don't forget that bucket that you have that you can pull all of those things into that don't resonate with you, you know what I mean? Is there anything that you would like to say to add on to our topics for today?
No.
Not quite yet. Okay. Yes, gosh. There's so much to talk about. Everybody take a big deep breath where you are. You know what to do to activate into this space as you feel your soul sink into your heart right here where you are. Inhale, exhale, and feel your belly and your chest move. Feel the divine flowing within you on your breath. This is the mystery. This is source consciousness. This is the fractal of God, of Goddess that is awakened within, that is breathing in constant connection here. This is your Gaia manifest. This is all of creation manifest in and through the body. Source in all of these different angles and all of these different fractals. Source being Gaia, the earth. Source being you, the body. Source being me, the consciousness. I am, right? We've talked about this. I am. And so, in the grand story of being human, through my experience, I'd like to talk about my pathway of awakening, and if it resonates with you, I hope it helps. And we're here to channel grace, to channel truth, to be in our magic, and to see sacred transformation of the soul. That's what we're doing here. Sacred transformation of the soul as it alchemizes through an emotional. Ooh, how do we say that? We like to say emotional rehab, but this is this thing that we can only do being human here on planet Earth. And so, bringing in this sacred cosmic awareness. I know we say sacred a lot, but this is how we are holy. We are God in a body. This is our sanctuary here that we're awakening into. And so, backing this up into a singular pathway of awakening, because that's what we're all doing as we're all in our own vessel, our own sanctuary. I was born on planet Earth back in the year in 1982, okay? And that's when I began an awakening into a body, right? God in a body. But as a baby, as a human, here on planet Earth, you go along the pathway that you're born into, and you learn the things that you learn. Perhaps you have religion, perhaps you have this type of family, perhaps you are born into a working class, perhaps you're born into something that's not, that's a little more not working class, we'll say. There's jokes up in here. But for me, I was born into a family that knew Jesus, that was fully religious, in a beautiful, sweet Christian Bible Belt way. I, as a teeny tiny child, knew a Christ consciousness within me, as love, as something that I just felt. Love, a frequency, I felt it through song, I felt it through love as my parents held me, I felt it through love as, everybody was just happy and being in that unity consciousness together. Like, we are all here praying for this love and this oneness and joy and peace and prosperity for all. And so that's what I came into, right? But as life likes to weave and program us down here on planet Earth in the third density, my pathway took me through school. It took me through high school in the US of A, right? And testing and scoring and being on the dance team and playing the football and all the different things, that we were like, this is what we have to focus on doing. And the next steps after that, and the next steps after that, and the next steps after that. And so I had this mindset that I was going to go off and be like this teacher and a missionary and all of these things, because I was coming up through this religious pathway, and this was also a programming I was receiving. This is the stuff that we believe, that we buy into when we are still operating as sleeper agents, prior to the grand waking up, as they say. And this is what we're getting to, the spiritual awakening. And you might say, well, Brooke Nicole, you just said you've been religious all your life. You were a Jesus freak back in high school and all of that. That's true. I'm a spiritual all my life. I just told you about it, right? But the spiritual awakening came later on in life, when after I had prayed a prayer in my heart to have that Christed consciousness, to have the heart of God, to love with that agape love, I went out into the world and I partied like a rock star, and I picked up all of these different experiences, and throughout life took myself away from religion and from those beliefs, because to have that Christed heart, that compassionate heart, that unity consciousness, the spiritual awakening that allowed me to say words like that, I needed to feel and know in the way of unity consciousness, of God fractal source that is walking and living and breathing in all these other people, all these other bodies, all these other beings and plants and animals and everything around us, and so if you can imagine now, this is how I imagine it myself, like it's like I was this spiritually attuned teeny tiny little me who one day said, okay, I want to actually awaken and be with and be like, to be, back then my language is be like Christ, be like God. Now my language is I am. I know that Christed heart, that crystalline consciousness within me is source living in a body, one with me, right? Yeshua, who reminds us, who remembers that within us, calls for this awakening that this is alive within us. Gosh, there's like some fire behind that. Did you feel that? It's like, oh, alive here within us, as evidenced through the breath. And so whatever that means to you, I say it with love, and with my truth. This is my truth that I know. This is what's flowing out from the heart right here. I mean, do you hear that? there's so much to say. There is so much to call in the way of unity consciousness, that sourced frequency that allows your channel to be so much bigger than these teeny little programs that we've been, I don't know, lined up and tested with and programmed with. Does that make sense? I know I'm saying program a whole lot. Sound like one of them conspiracy theorists and all that, you know. I'm not sure about those ones over there. I know how we sound. But I'm getting to the point. So, as we are all on our own pathway, into the same thing, which is the source, the unity consciousness, this knowing that all is one, the one is in the all. As I was out there gathering up all of that information about how it is to be somebody who is a military spouse, and about how it is to have this experience, and to be a teen mom, and like all the things that are part of my pathway, and prepared me for the day when somebody said a word to me. It was just one little word, a key, that set something off within me. And I went, oh, I remember that's the truth. Sometimes that's just a little seed, or you're just gifted a key and you hold on to it for a little while. It has to grow within you for a little while. You have to sit there and germinate with it before it blossoms out, before you have that burst out, that awakening into the light. And that's what I did. I had one little word. It was the word energy that popped me wide open. We're energy. And I know that that's like a big buzzword, and everybody says energy. But that's it. And that was it for me. And it brought me into a space of oneness with God, with Source, with all of that, with all of everything. That we return to that when we're not here in this body. In dream time and beyond that. But it blew my mind wide open, and I hunkered down for the next how many years? 5 years, 7 years? I don't, just, read the book. It gives you the timeline. And so I traveled into this tower moment of life where everything changed. My whole world changed. Who I was changing. Who I thought I was going to be was changing. And it was this huge tower crashing, crumbling moment. But it was also a space for me to become the phoenix and see who I actually was, to remember who I actually am, which is God in a body. But I went in through a pathway of like divine, sacred, mystic, feminine, witchy woo. This was my awakening pathway. And it started with some crystals and some singing bowls. I met the hammer holder and others, and it just snowballed. So that was my pathway in, was being into things like this, and going to yoga, and really just being with myself and my emotions as I traveled through this tower moment, this big thing in my life that changed everything. And so I know that all of us can resonate with that, right? I mean, something that you didn't expect to happen happened, and then boom, life has to be different, right? And for me, that's when my soul went, yep, I'm going to drop the F in, I'm going to be here all the way. I'm going to ground. This is our root bowl right here. You want to hear that some more? These are awakening. feel like I want to pause here, my rewilding sister, because you have stepped in through these pathways as well. And I know that we've talked about sacred mystic feminine, Hecate, and other gorgeous, sexy sauce. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about your pathway. And
yeah, it's nice to hear your story, because I feel like mine's similar, different but similar. I believe that my soul chose my parents and my path, the people in my life, the people that surround me, the people that brought more people to me, more connections. And we each have a mission. We each have personal growth, soul growth, earth school, right? You're here to learn. You're here to know yourself more, is what I've found for myself. I was raised religious, different pathways of religion. Loved reading the Bible, loved Job was my favorite character, aside from Jesus. And Mother Mary resonated with me strongly as well. And John the Beloved. And but there were certain things about the Bible that I could not get on board with. It didn't. Love is expansive. Why this? And part of that is contrast. Part of that is just I struggled with it. And the more that I explored and really got to see behind the scenes of church, the uglier it became. It became very business and less the Christian, Sunday morning, more human in a lot of ways. And that hurt in a lot of ways. But I also always resonated with nature more. Hippie woo shops, divination tools have always resonated with me. Though I suppressed that, being the good Christian girl that I was. I don't worship the devil because I read tarot or resonate with that. Fortune tellers have always been kind of like, ooh, like for me. There's probably a soul history there. But it was 2019, maybe, 2020, when a roommate of mine asked me a question, and it was a simple question. It was, your energy, right?
what?
What? And that blew my mind. It got me curious. It gave me permission to explore myself more through other religions, which I found. And that also gave me permission to explore. Because at that time, I was doing the motions of church. I didn't really resonate, but I wanted to try to make my parents happy, and they liked that I went for social reasons, because I tend to be very to myself. I like solitude, or at the time, at least. So I got really curious. I started reading different religious texts and found that they have a lot of the same themes, just different character names. Big theme of love, as you can imagine. I've always resonated with divination tools, like I said, going into talking and communing with myself through that. Nature's also been more my church than church. It's always there. It's healing, and I get downloads there. I've also always been a seer. I see symbols that others don't. I also am have mediumship abilities. I've seen spirits, and I have most of my clairs are open and alive, including clairaudience, which is kind of scary the first time when you hear hello or a voice or no, and you're like, what? Who was that? But you set boundaries, and you can either work with those tools that we each have or not. It is up to you. The more that I've dropped into myself in meditation, which doesn't have to be sitting still, you can move, you can dance. There are varieties of dropping in, communing with yourself. It's, as I've found, it's just quieting the mind and being the observer rather than reactive. And those times where I've dropped in, that is my church. That is those moments of stillness, and stillness within the mind, not stillness within here, are profound. That's when I get answers. That's when I get clarity. Here lately, I would say within the past 3 months, I've been working strongly with vibration as my channel, thanks to this beautiful woman, has opened with her Reiki circles and various skills and talents that just being around her have activated, and the people she surrounds herself with are also activating. Sound baths, like she said, various tools have powerfully activated me. My first time experiencing a sound bath was about this time last year, and that was beautiful. That was an experience. Every sound bath is a new experience because you're co-creating with energy of not only the facilitator, but everyone there, and the space. And so as my channel's open, I'm very, very, very sensitive, which I knew I was a sensitive. I'm a highly sensitive person. Now I'm a highly sensitive, energetic person. Energy is like right now, my whole left side's like buzzing. And it's been that way for a while. Last night I went to a meditation sound bath. I could barely write my name because I was buzzing so much. A lot came through last night for me. Again, like I said, music does that to me. Vibration for sure does that. Which you can imagine the various forms of vibration and how you can create that in your world. What else? I know you had touched on the fact that, or maybe you didn't. I know in learning in the Bible, it's like, oh, the way is narrow, right? Oh. And we think Jesus is the way. And there's truth to that, but Jesus said, my peace I give to you. My spirit lives within you. You are the I am. When I think about that, Now I can't think about it.
Cancel Claire, but oh, that's better. I remember. I remember.
Broadway. Oh, okay. So, yeah, the Broadway and the narrow path. So, we are each awakening to ourselves. In that awakening, we're, yes, realizing the programming. Part of the programming is giving your power away. The power of awakening is calling that power back, remembering who you are and how powerful you are, and that you are a creator. You create your experience, and you are, I am. And so the way, yes, the way is narrow, because a lot of people want to give their power away. I struggle with people pleasing. That is a form of victim mentality. That is a form of giving my power away. That is a form of, I don't feel worthy of, so let me distract myself from myself. And it's beautiful, right? It can be beautiful. Acts of service. But if you're coming with that need, if you're coming and saying, well, fill my cup and I'll fill yours, right? And as you both pour out, if you're two givers, you're eventually just gonna have just empty cups. When you awaken to yourself, when you drop in, you fill your own cup. You say, I am the source of my own love. I am whole and complete in myself. That's not selfish. That's self-love. That's knowing you. That's love, right? And through that, communing with yourself, going to church with yourself, right? Dropping in, filling your cup, filling your soul, follow your bliss. You fill, you fill, you fill. It's easy to give because you are abundant. You just fill in your cup. Just fill in my cup. Sure, I got enough for you. Come on. You're not going to deplete my energy because I'm full. I'm full. And it won't be perfect. Give yourself grace. Walk day by day, moment by moment. Come back to yourself. Oh yeah, I know who I am. Oh, I gave my power away. I call that back. I released that attachment and love. I don't need to be attached. I got me. I come abundantly. Arms open.
More.
Remember who you are. You are worthy. You are enough. You are whole and complete. And yes, through your wholeness, we can co-create beauty. You stepping in and remembering yourself, you are the way maker now. You don't have to bridle people and pull them, come on, you know. Just show them. Just be the example. But do it for yourself. Know yourself. Give yourself that grace, that love. Look yourself in the mirror, in the eye. Tell yourself you love yourself. You're allowed.
Yeah.
Can you look yourself in the mirror, in the eye? It's vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But you are worthy of being seen that way.
Mm-hmm.
Can you look at your body and say, this is my temple?
Yeah.
If you're a woman, my womb is my altar.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that? The people that come to you come and worship. And not in an ego way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And for men, you have a temple too. You get to say, no. Or yes. Set those boundaries. You are worthy.
Only love may enter. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Wow. I love your beautiful voice. Thank God it's for you. Thank God it's for you. I would like to say that the pathway of awakening isn't always singular points. You know, it's always evolving. It's every day, every moment. There are always new fractals of awakening to experience. And if we let ourselves be corralled into the teeny tiny little boxes and the teeny tiny little patterns, and we don't allow ourselves to connect into what